Hello, this is Tiana, and today is December 19th, 2025, and this is going to be a recap of the S&P 500 from the week. So I am actually starting on Tuesday, the 16th chart. For some reason, I cannot get my Monday chart up. So anyway, we are going to start here on Tuesday. Well, actually, this is Monday overnight. So this is actually the trade that I took. We had our key entry point high at 68.89.75. Our key entry point low was 68.67.75. And then I went short once we, didn't make it up to the high. And I just wrote it down, tried to write it down to the bottom key entry point. If I had stayed back, I could have gotten a little bit more, say a little bit. But actually a really good entry on this bottom key entry point would have been at around 8:30 that night. You had a breakout pullback with a decent signal candle. It didn't have too much stem at the bottom there. Or you could have waited for the next candle right here that broke lower and entered that once it broke past these stems. So if say you would have got in that trade at about 68.62, you could have rolled it down to about 20 points. I'll go over until we got another key entry point touch. You got a touch here at about 8:20 in the morning, but that was, for me, it was a red hammer up, so I don't know, I wouldn't have taken that one. But you got touches at the top key entry point. You had stem, couldn't go higher. Then you had this falling hammer off of the key entry point. You go in at about 68.85, and you could have anticipating riding it all the way to the other key entry point for about 15 points or so. It actually did continue down a little further than the key entry point. Then we have the open here, this vertical line, the 9:30 open. It kind of played around the key entry point. I mean, you could have got chopped up if you only went based on signal candles and didn't wait for setups. So yeah, that was about, it was only about 8 minutes, about 8 minutes of chop. But then you got a breakout pullback short. This would have been the best signal candle. It actually is a second entry failure as well. If you count this, that's a push down, push up, push down, and then you would expect it to go long here. It didn't. Once it broke below this stem here, it's a second entry long failure. So if you had taken that trade, you could have got in at about 68.62 and rolled it down for about 15 points. Let's see, it didn't give us a wifey back through the EMA, but you did get a break back in, is what I like to call it. You had a push through, pull back right off of the EMA. You could have been sitting a tick above this stem and entered at about 68.71, and that's about 6-7 points there if you had taken that. Yeah, we had a couple more break back ins, break back belows. This was a good one here off of the EMA. You could have got, I don't know, about 15 points. Oh no, it kept going. I lied, 15 points. You could have got a lot off of that one. Yeah, but that was a breakout pullback, another breakout pullback. So yeah, that was Tuesday. Okay, now we come to Wednesday's chart, and our key entry point high was 68.66 and our key entry point low was 68.34. This was my trade. I've been trading the Asian session, opening at 1800, just because I like to do things differently. Okay, so I'm gonna go to any touches that we had. We had a touch at about 8:20 in the morning. We had three. Well, this one's more of a doji, but 2 hammers up. So let's say you took the green one, you could have got in at about 68.69 and wrote it up for about 11 points. It wasn't a second entry, it's actually like a third entry long. Let's see here, let's go. This is the 9:30 open, and we chopped across the top of the top key entry point for about 5 minutes, and then you had a break back in to the range. So if you had taken one of these, you could have gotten in about 68, 63. And did it make it down to the bottom key entry point? It did eventually. But say if you were going for 10 points or so, you could have got it in that first move. 62 to 52 is right here. Yeah, so you could have got that. You had several entries off of the EMA. That would have worked. Yeah, so let's see here. I'm going to go. I broke out the other side. All right, I'm gonna pause and go to Thursday. Okay, and this is our chart for Thursday, December 18th, 2025, and this is the open at 1800. Our top key entry point was at 6834.75, I'm sorry, and then 67.7. Let me try that again. Okay, now here's our chart for Thursday. Here is our open at 1800. Our top key entry point was 6834.75, and our bottom key entry point was 6775.75. So at the open here, we had a tiny gap up, and it filled that gap and went down to the bottom key entry point. Missed it by about a tick, but if you had taken that green hammer up at about 67.81, actually 67.82, you could have gotten about 10 points on that move up. It came back down to the bottom key entry point. It broke out by about 4.5 points, and then it broke back in. It made the most beautiful wifey. I have to mark it. Right here. Yeah. If you had entered this wifey, I mean, this is at midnight, but if anybody trades Asian session and they were up and trading at that time and you kept your stop back below this double bottom here, and you would have entered at about 67.85, I'm sorry. You could have rode it back up to the top key entry point. That was at 68.35 for about 50 points. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Let me see. I'm trying to see if that's right. Yeah, 67.85 to, yeah. So yeah, you would have entered that wifey trade at about midnight, and then if you stay in and stayed back, you would have got out at about 8:45 in the morning. So that was an all-nighter, all night, all uphill, no pullbacks below your entry. So you could have got anything that you wanted out of that trade, as long as you made it through this sideways kind of action right here that went on for about 2 hours. If you slept through this and just stayed back, you could have had a monster of a trade. I traded this gap, so I got I think 3 or 4 points on this day. I think I got 4. So I wish I had waited for that wifey, but I was asleep at that time. Let's go to the 9:30 open. I'm sorry. You did get a nice breakout pullback right before the open. Is this what JD was? Oh yeah, this is what he was live streaming. Okay. I'm like, this looks familiar. Yeah, I had already traded, so I wasn't watching. I wasn't at home when he did that stream. But if you had taken the breakout pullback and stayed back below this swing, let me make this chart bigger. It was right off the 21 EMA. So yeah, if you could have treated this as a second entry long and went above this candle, and then you would have had your stop back here below this candle, and you would have got in at about 68.37, and it went up to 49. So that's a 12-point move right there before it broke back short. And I think that's exactly what JD called, that, you know, we might trap some people going long, which it probably did, and then it pushed down back short, and then it kind of took off long. I don't know. This was a day. You had a lot of moves here, but a lot of moves off of the key entry point. And that is my point of doing these, is to give people confidence to trade the key entry points, that they do work, that you see tons of entries off of them. the key entry points that are called in the community. Use those with the 21 EMA. And here's another one. This is just taking that hammer off the 21 EMA and the key entry point. 68.33. It went down to 25, so about 8 points or so. Unless you stayed back through this, then you could have got more. You got a good breakout pullback right here at 9.52. That's a beautiful one. That's a green pullback, red, green. You go a tick above there. You get in about 68.37, 47 right there. So that's 10 points right there. You have to break back in short. You go below that, 68.32. You get about 5 points. But 5 points is a nice win on the ES. This breakback long, it didn't give me any red, but I sometimes cheat. Like if a candle starts green, then it pulls back red, and then it ends up green, I'll count that as my pullback, because what happens is it's just too strong to give you a red candle. It's just too much buying pressure. So I don't want to say you could have got in. I don't want to mess anybody up because that's not how it really goes. But I have done that several times, and it works. Sometimes anything works. Sometimes it might not work all the time. But say you though enter, you knew this was going long. You could have got in at 68.38. How far did this thing go? It went to 68.68, so 30 points. Then we chopped around, and we're at 11.30. So oof, then we sold off. Good googly. It was a lot of price action on Thursday, but I traded overnight Asian session again, so I saw none of this in real time. I'm seeing it all right now. Oh, that's a pretty second entry short. That signal candle isn't the best, but if you had traded it where you had it a tick below and then just entered on that tick below, you could have got in at about 68.30 and then rolled that down 15 points to 68.15. But that is a beautiful second entry short. Well, I say beautiful. The signal candle isn't the best, but if, like I said, if you use that candle, it qualifies that way. It didn't do a pullback on this one. Wow, what a day. But it didn't go anywhere. It chopped around sideways, so you could have possibly lost if you didn't take the couple points that it gave. You gave me about 3 points. This one broke back out. Yeah, lots of key entry point moves on Thursday, but there are key entry point moves every day, and that's my point of this. Every day. Oh, this is a nice one. There's setups off the key entry point. So hopefully you guys had a good day, good week. Friday was a crazy day. I traded overnight again, so yeah. But let's peek at Friday, which is today. I just want to peek because I don't know what happened. Okay. We gotta say, oh, let me throw the key entry points on real quick. Okay, so our key entry points for Friday were 68.50, and the key entry point low was 68.18.50. And let me put on some vertical lines. Let me find the open. 9:30 was here. I took my trade at midnight. Let me see. I took 2 trades because I think I got breaky. All right, so it tried to come to the bottom key entry point. It missed it by about 2 points. But if you had gone long here, you could have got in at about 68.28 and rode it up to the top for about almost 20 points. Then it played around at the top key entry point. It could not go any higher than here. Lots of stems on top is a good indicator that we were going to go short. It actually made a second entry short. We had a low, push up, push down, and then a signal candle here. You could have got in at about 68.47 and rolled that down for about 17 points to 68.30. That was at about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 to 7 o'clock. I'm going to slide over here because I'm interested in what happened at the open. And we were trending up. It broke out, pulled back, broke out. How high did we go? Let me see. If you had taken this as a breakout, you could have got in at 68.52, rode it up for about 11, 12 points. Ooh, or more, but it did do quite a significant pullback. So I mean, that pullback 10 points. It's hard to stay back 10 points worth of pullback, but then it made another second entry long. This candle is, again, not the best signal candle, but if you had put it a tick above and waited for this green candle to kick you in, it would have been 68.57, and then it went up 20 points or more. I was gonna say or more. It went more. So yeah, we had some key entry point plays on this day as well. Then you kind of just chop in sideways, so you would have had to look for some price action movement off of the EMA. Let's see, did we get any more touches? No, we didn't. So yeah, a couple of entries that would have got you, you know, some good profit if you had taken them. So yeah, hopefully you guys had a great week. Oh, here's the second entry long right here. Push down, push up, push down, up. That would have been a 15-point move there. So yeah, we had some good price action off of the key entry points this week. Hopefully you guys saw them in real time and were able to capitalize and make some good profit. And next week is Christmas, of course, so it's going to be you know, some time off. So enjoy your time off with your families. We are going to do that. It's been a hectic week in our house, a lot of things going on, a lot of pieces moving around, but hopefully you guys have a wonderful holiday, and we will see you all soon with some updates. All right, bye-bye.